everyone, welcome to Wine Wednesday with Plants. I'm Jane Morocco. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about when it is a good time to transplant your plants into a larger container. I did get this question this week from Lori, and it's a great question. So I'm going to take one of our plants today. It's a Endepritis, note white, and it's in its grower container. And so most of the time when you get a plant from us, you're going to have the plant in its original container, and I'm just going to put it into one of our great repots. And like I said before, I really like these because they're totally 100% recyclable. And I just think it's a nice thing to receive your plant already in a container instead of having to go out and search for one. You can always do that later, but when you get a plant from us, it's already in its container, and you could it's shelf ready. You could just put it anywhere in your house until you find one. So most of the time it's gonna come that way. So it's gonna come like this, and you could leave it like that. Or if you do get a plant from us and it happens to be direct planted, meaning I've already taken it out of its growing container and directly planted it into our grow pot, it's because the plant has already grown out of its grow pot container. And I wanted to give the roots a little better chance before it reached your home. So one of the ways, though, that you can always tell that your plant needs to be repotted is to just turn it over. I don't know if you can see this or not, but you'll notice that the roots are already starting to grow out of the grow pot through the little holes. So that's a really good indication that it needs to be repotted. If you do get this plant from us and it's already showing signs that it's growing out of the bottom of the container, I would just leave it like that for a few weeks, because I always tell people that plants have to acclimate to your house, and we don't want to put them into a shock right away by transplanting them in the first couple of weeks. So, but anyway, once your plant has established itself in your home, what I normally do is I just like to very gently slide it out of its container. If it doesn't come out right away and you don't have any special garden tools or anything, don't worry about it. Just take a regular knife that you're not using and just kind of gently cut all the way around the container, the soil, just to kind of loosen it up. You can even kind of tap on it, or squeeze it out of its container. But before you do that, take your pot that you're going to transfer it into and take some soil, specifically for tropical plants. If you're transplanting a succulent, definitely use soil for a succulent cactus type of plant. But this is just for a tropical plant. And I'm just going to fill just a little bit in there, maybe a couple inches of soil in the pot I'm going to transfer it into. Gently take your plant out of the pot. And what I like to do too is look at this plant is actually root bound, meaning that the roots are really, really kind of tight in there. So I like to loosen that up as much as I can, very gently. Boy, these are really tight. Take some of the soil off if you can, just to kind of loosen those roots up. Don't worry if you break a couple of them, it's okay. But just try to do it gently, loosen that up as much as you can. Put it in your container, and then take some more of the soil and just fill in all the little crannies of the pot. Push down a little bit. I'm going to do this all the way around. Make it a big mess here, but that's okay. You can just put down newspaper or something if you're working in your kitchen on the island. Just fill in all the little areas I might have missed. And push it down. Plant. And then what I do is I always like to water the plant after you transplant it. And if you are transplanting directly into one of our repots, I know some people get kind of concerned about water sitting in the bottom of the pot. A lot of the pots that they have out there have a separate tray. What's nice about the repots is they actually have a tray built into them. And if you still get concerned about, you know, your plants sitting in water, at the very bottom, there is a little plastic tube here that you could just, little button that you could pull out and let the water out if you think that there's water sitting in there. So these are kind of neat containers. Do a lot of things. And okay, so this one, then we're gonna water this one. I'm gonna put it over there because I wanted to show you another plant that actually has roots growing on the top of the plant. And this is a Monstera. Monsteras are so cool. They're like, to me, like Harry Potter type plants or something out of a book from Dr. Seuss. They just grow really crazy. They're an easy plant to take care of. But now they will also show, you know, roots growing out of the bottom. But if you see roots on the top of the plant, that's okay. That's very normal for Monsteras because they come from the rainforest originally. And these plants are pretty cool. They always want to, they're kind of in a competition with other plants in the rainforest. So they're always reaching for light. So that's why a lot of their roots will actually grow on top and they'll reach for other things, you know, other plants, trees in the wild. And I think it's pretty cool. Some people cut them off, which is okay. It's not going to affect the plant at all. But I like to leave them because I think it's really interesting to have these roots sticking out all over the place. So as long as they're not like climbing up your dining room table, or if you have a guest over and it kind of latches onto somebody's leg, I would just leave them. I think they're pretty cool. And that's all part of the plant. So, but it's up to you. It's just personal preference whether you want to cut those roots off or not, but I just leave them. I think it's pretty cool. So I hope that I answered your question, Lori, and if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. So thanks for joining me for another Wine Wednesday, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.